The first step in developing this therapy was to define emotion dysregulation, as it was only by determining a precise definition of emotion dysregulation and what it does and does not encompass that we could target it efficiently and effectively in treatment. At the time this treatment was developed, there were several conceptualizations of emotion regulation in the literature that varied in both their understanding of the role of emotions in functioning and their approach to emotion regulation. One of the main differences between these conceptualizations of emotion regulation was how emotions, particularly negative emotions, were viewed. Whereas some conceptualizations viewed emotions as potentially disruptive to the pursuit of goals and in need of control or modification, others focused on the functionality of all emotions and their utility in guiding behaviors and valued actions. As you can probably imagine, these differences in how emotions were viewed had a direct impact on how emotion regulation was conceptualized and what the goal of emotion regulation was thought to be. Specifically, when emotions were viewed as potentially disruptive and in need of control, conceptualizations of emotion regulation emphasized the down-regulation of negative emotions, reduction of negative emotional arousal, and the modification of the experience or expression of emotions in some way. Conversely, when emotions were viewed as functional and adaptive, corresponding conceptualizations of emotion regulation focused on adaptive ways of responding to emotions that facilitate the functional use of emotions as information to guide behavior. Given evidence that many self-destructive behaviors function to avoid or escape emotional distress, as well as extensive literature indicating that efforts to control, suppress, or avoid emotions may have paradoxical consequences, increasing the frequency and severity of those emotions, we questioned the clinical utility of conceptualizations of emotion regulation that emphasized the control or reduction of negative emotions. These approaches seemed to confound processes that undermined effective emotion regulation with those that promote adaptive emotion regulation, potentially interfering with effective treatment or even having iatrogenic effects. Instead, we decided that approaches to emotion regulation that emphasized the functionality of emotions and problems associated with deficits in the capacity to experience the full range of emotions would be most clinically useful and helpful in guiding treatment development.